everyone, it's Nina and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a reading vlog in honor of Smutathon. So Smutathon is a readathon that is being run this last week of December. And I decided to participate because one of the two heads of Smutathon is Riley Marie, who is a booktuber that I really like. So I don't really read a lot of traditional romance books, but at the same time I do like romance books. But I really wanted to participate, and there were some books that were on my TBR that could fit in the prompts for the readathon. So I figured I would go ahead and show you the books that are on my TBR right now. I'm kind of doing a very low TBR to start off with, but we might add some books later on in the week as I progress on these ones. The first on that list is A Restless Truth by Freya Marsk. This is a queer historical romance that also has a magical twist to it. It's set in Edwardian England, where there's both the regular society that you know in the real world, as well as a kind of secret magical society as well. The main character of this book is Maud, who is the younger sister of Robin, who is the main character in the previous book, A Marvelous Light. The previous book is an MM romance, and this is an FF romance, and I was very excited for that before this book was released. It's currently Tuesday when I'm filming this intro, so the readathon technically started yesterday on Monday. And yesterday I did read a large chunk of this book. I am currently on page 154. And so far I am liking it. To be honest, I'm not 100% on the romance between Maud and Violet yet. I just feel like it's moving at a kind of strange pace. However, there is one side character that we met in the previous book named Hawthorne, and he is so funny. He's kind of this very gruff, super serious dad type character. And seeing the trio get into a lot of crazy hijinks has been really funny and enjoyable so far. So I'm very excited to continue reading more of this and see where it goes. The next book I'm going to be reading for this readathon is Husky and His White Cat Shizun by Roubao Buqi Rao. This is a danmei, or a Chinese historical MM romance. The main character, Moran, was this really powerful, evil tyrant back in his previous life, but after his death he ends up getting reincarnated in the past in his 15-year-old self's body. And he's both trying to turn over a new leaf and prevent all the terrible things that happened to the people he cared about happen again in this new life. But at the same time he's also going to get revenge on those people that wronged him from his previous life. And one of those people was Chu Wanning, who is his Shizun. This one I'm going to be reading primarily for the age gap prompt for the readathon. Even though Moran is technically an adult, he's still in the body of a teenager, and then obviously Chu Wanning is an adult. And A Restless Truth I am reading for the 2022 release prompt for the readathon. Since the prompts of the readathon are done as a bingo board, you ideally would have at least 3 reads that you're doing. But since these books are both quite long, this one is, I think, just under 500 pages, and this one is just under 400 pages, I figured I would start a little bit slow to see how far I make it into these books before I added any other ones. But I have been really enjoying them and definitely flying through them pretty quickly, so I do think that since I have a lot of time this week, I will be able to finish both of them and hopefully add another book to my TBR. So I'll update you in a future vlog clip when that ends up happening. But that is my TBR for this readathon so far. And with this kind of long intro out of the way, let's get into the rest of the video. So it's currently Wednesday, so I thought I would give you the update of everything that I read yesterday. So in A Restless Truth, I am currently at the start of chapter 25, which is page 258. I think this makes me almost exactly 2/3 of the way through, and I am definitely not enjoying this as much as I did the previous book in the series. I think the big thing is that for the majority of this book, the plot feels very much like a sidestep away from all of the main plot that we got in the previous novel. I just felt like in the previous book there was so much depth in the world building that was going on, but in this one, since we're kind of in this very static location, and then the entire story only taking place over the total of 6 days is kind of hindering at it being involved in the larger story. I do think we're finally getting to a point now where we're going to have all of the things that have happened so far connect into the larger story, which I will definitely be happy with. But I think the lack of connection to the larger plot has also been hindered by the fact that I don't really enjoy the romance that much. This is my first time reading a female-female romance book that has spicy aspects to it. and I was very excited to see them actually be in the story, but I didn't really enjoy them very much. There was a line in the second interaction that Violet and Maud had that I was like cringing at. I thought it was so gross. And I think that really took me out of their relationship in that aspect. But in terms of like just their chemistry together, I just feel like I don't really like them as a couple very much. And it was kind of baffling to me. I just felt like Maud, despite being a lesbian, definitely has more chemistry with Hawthorne, the like older male guy, than she does with her female love interest. I think it is again hindered by the fact that the entire story is taking place over 6 days. Like, I know lesbians are known to move pretty quickly, but I'm like, woof, pump the brakes there, girls. So that's my update for Restless Truth. Next up, I have been reading the first volume of Husky and Whitecat Shizun. I got to page 110 yesterday, which I'm very proud of. So far, it's mostly been like just kind of like the background setup and starting to get to know Moran as a character. I was kind of pleasantly surprised that they have implied that Moran has both had relationships with other men and also has feelings with another male character besides just his Shizun. We don't know yet that he has feelings for his Shizun. I don't think he even yet realizes that he has feelings for him. But I feel like it is rare in Danmei and just like boys' love in general for the main male character to have feelings for other men besides their like designated one love interest, and to like have that foresight or aspect of their character established early on. So I was definitely enjoying that and kind of seeing Moran being canonically bisexual from a very early stage in this novel. I'm very excited to read more of this. I think it does get pretty crazy later on. This one is actually rated for mature readers only, which I know Scumvillain, even though the last volume had a lot of like crazy things that happened in it, I'm pretty sure it still only kept like a 17 plus rating in it. So the fact that this one already from the get-go jumped up to having a like adult only rating, I am like really anticipating there being a lot of crazy stuff later on. So that is my reading update for today. Yesterday I was feeling very sick, but luckily now I'm feeling pretty much all better. I like kind of speed ran having a cold for like one 24-hour period. So if not today, I think tomorrow I'm going to donate some things to my local thrift store. And I probably also will look through their book selection there, so there might be a book haul coming later on in this video. But I will see you guys tomorrow for the next update. So it is now a Thursday morning, and I just finished Restless Truth. I really enjoyed the last third of this book, probably the most out of any other section. I felt like it gave me a lot of the like plot point details that I've been really clamoring for, as well as had a lot of good action in like the final climax. Even though I guess this is a romance first and a magical adventure novel second, I actually vastly prefer the like overarching plot structure than the romance in this one. I'm not really sure what I'm going to rate this yet. I think it probably will be between like a 3.5 and a 4. I just have to kind of like let my thoughts sit with this a little bit more. I think the main reason I didn't like this one as much as A Marvelous Light, which is the previous one in the series, is because I didn't really like Violet as a romantic interest very much. I feel like A Marvelous Light did a better job of like balancing the two main characters and allowing you to like see in their internal monologues and like understand their reasonings for situations a lot better. But in this one, it was like Violet was very closed off, even in her POV chapters. So not only was she like being closed off within the story towards Maud, but she also was kind of closed off from us as the readers. So I just found it was hard for me to like understand her motivations and like want to root for her that much. I think there's also a personal reason for why I didn't like this as much as well, which is that I tend to be really like particular and picky with my lesbian ships. I tend to have a very, very like niche set of requirements for me to enjoy a lesbian romance. Obviously, I do support the idea of like having bad gays in media and that not all forms of representation have to be like good representation. But for me, I have to have it be exactly how I like it in like my tiny, tiny niche of just lesbian romances. I can have all of the other like messy queer aspects with other aspects of the LGBTQIA umbrella, but just for my like particular identifying piece, it has to be exactly the way I want it. And the relationship between Maud and Violet in the story just wasn't really what I was looking for. That being said, there was also a section that was kind of fleshed out in the last third of the book where one of the older women characters kind of is talking about her childhood and her relationship with this other character that we met in the previous book. And that part I thought was so cute. It was just like these two cute old ladies in love, and I wish that we had seen more of that. That was really the energy that I was really clamoring for this romance. I don't really want to write off like adult lesbian romance novels from like a list of things I shouldn't read, but I feel like I have more of a target audience if I read stuff that is aimed at YA instead. I feel like that's probably a better, like more safe bet for me to find a lesbian couple in the book that I really enjoy. I do really enjoy all of these side characters in this book. I loved Hawthorne. I think he's so funny. I just love this like disgruntled bi older dad energy he has. I think it's already been announced now that the third book is going to be following him, and I'm pretty sure his love interest will be another character that was introduced in this book. So I'm excited to see that element of the story come to fruition and also for their relationship to develop because they're really cute. I love their like really snarky back and forth banter that they had in this one. So that's my reading update for right now. I have done a little bit more reading in this, but not enough I feel like to comment on it. That being said, I did start tabbing it a little bit here. Right now I have a generic tab for like plot related stuff, one for Moran's feelings because I feel like his like development of his feelings for Chuwanning is going to be something that I want to track throughout the story. And I also put a tab in for every time they talk about food because Moran's relationship with Shime is very much based on like food being his love language. And every time they talk about food, it sounds so delicious that I thought I would go ahead and add a tab for those moments. Since I did finish this is going to be my main priority to finish for the rest of the week. I did go to the library and kind of like perused the romance section just to see if there was something else that I was interested in. But unfortunately, they didn't have the first book in a series I wanted to get out. So I might end up picking up the third volume of Grandmaster Demonic Cultivation. I'm not sure yet. My main hesitation is I can't get the fourth volume until May because I very foolishly ended up pre-ordering it alongside the fifth volume from Right Stuff. And I thought for a while they were sending out things as the pre-orders came in, but now they're actually like bundling pre-orders until the last item is released. So even though the fourth volume came out in early December, it's currently stuck in limbo until the fifth volume comes out. So I'm worried that if I finish the third volume and I'm like super jazzed and like excited, I'm not going to be able to read the fourth one for another like 5 months. But luckily I do have some other romance series that I own that I can like fill the void in the middle with instead. But that's my reading update for right now, and I will see you guys tomorrow. So the readathon is now over, so I thought I would do a wrap up of the books that I ended up reading. Like I mentioned before, I finished A Restless Truth by Freya Marsk. I'm going to give this a 3.5 stars. I did enjoy the last third of the book probably the most. I really liked aspects where it finally got into like the greater overarching plot. But the main flaw of this book was that I just really didn't enjoy the romance aspect of it. I think in the end it got a little bit better, but at the same time I just feel like since I didn't spend a lot of the book really connecting to our main romantic love interest, it kind of really hindered my overall enjoyment of the story. I did really like a lot of these side characters. I absolutely love Hawthorne, and I'm really excited for the next book to be focused on him, especially since I'm pretty sure it's going to be with the other side character that was introduced in this book, and I thought he was really fun, so I'm really excited to see them together. And I also finished the first volume of Husky and his White Cat Shizun. This book I really enjoyed. I'm not sure if I'm going to give it a 4 or a 4.5. One of the biggest factors in my enjoyment of this was that I really did like the romantic love interest of Chu Wanning. I thought he was really great. I actually think I might even like him a little bit more than Lan Wangji, which is really surprising because in Grandmaster Demonic Cultivation, I love Wangji and Wu Xian's relationship. What I really like about in this one is that we're really seeing from both sides how Mo Ran and Chu Wanning's like perspective on the other person is changing over time. For Mo Ran, it starts out being more that he can't really tell the difference between love and hate in his feelings for Wanning. But with Wanning, it's like he knows that he does have feelings for Mo Ran, but he has already like decided that he's never going to tell him, which I really enjoy. I can't wait to see like how their relationship changes in the like 2.0 better timeline that we're going to get in the future. And also at the same time, we're going to see the more like bad end, past life of Mo Ran and how he treated Chu Wanning back when he still hated him. There was a part a little bit in like the middle of the book where I was like, I don't really care about this arc that we're going on. But the last section of the arc where they're getting their weapons and going to like this magical lake, that I'm really enjoying. I think it's really fun and very like fast paced. And I'm excited to see that continue in the next volume. So yes, those are the books that I ended up reading for Smutathon. Overall, I think it was a pretty successful reading week. I think I read between like 700, 800 pages in total. And those were also the last books that I read in 2022. So that is it for this vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, please consider liking this video or subscribing if you aren't already. Consider following me on this Storygraph if you want to see my book updates in real time. I hope you all have a wonderful start to your new year, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!